Hi everyone, welcome to week 6. This week we're going to be talking about memory. It's actually something that a lot of you mentioned in your initial discussion posts that you were excited to learn about. So we have a lot to do this week. We're going to cover how memory operates. We'll talk about the 3 systems of memory and then the 3 processes of memory. We'll talk about the biology and development of memory, and then get into some really cool research on false memories and how we can implant false memories in people and what that means for things like the criminal justice system and eyewitness testimony. And then finally, we'll end by talking about some strategies for enhancing memory, which will hopefully be helpful to you as you study for exams. Memory is defined as the retention of information over time. Now, we have memories for many different kinds of information, and our memories are surprisingly good in some situations and surprisingly bad in others. This is often referred to as the paradox of memory. So, the same memory mechanisms that serve us well in some circumstances can cause problems in others. So, for example, I know every word to the Spice Girls songs that I learned in middle school. Don't judge me, I grew up in the 90s. But I can't remember how to get home from places that I go all the time. So let's try a little memory experiment. I want you to pause the video and come back when you have a pen and paper in front of you. So now when I flip to the next slide, you're going to have 10 seconds to read and memorize a list of words. Don't cheat, don't pause the video, just try and memorize the words that are there. I want you to go from the left column to the middle column to the right column as you're reading and memorizing. Ready? Here we go, 10 seconds, starting now. Okay, now try and write down all the words you can remember. You have 20 seconds, go. All right, how did you do? Were you able to recall a lot of the words? Take a second and compare your list that you wrote down with what's here. How did you do? Anyone write anything that wasn't on the list? Did anybody include the word sweet in your listing? Interesting. Sweet actually wasn't one of the words listed. But if you did write down this word, it's because you fell victim to a memory illusion or a false but subjectively compelling memory. It's like a byproduct of our brain's tendency to go beyond the information that it has at its disposal to make sense of the world. So remember way back in week 2, we talked about the representativeness heuristic. This is the idea that we simplify things to make them easier to remember. But the downside is that it can lead to memory illusions. So because all of the words in this example had to do with taste or sweetness, you injected the word sweet into the list, even though it wasn't there. And we'll come back to this later when we talk about false memories, how we tend to think our memories are very reliable, but they're very easy to fool. Our memories often they often fool and fail us and are far more what's called reconstructive than reproductive. So when we try to recall an event, we actively reconstruct our memories using available cues and information. Rather than passively reproducing our memories. So we should be skeptical of widespread claims that certain vivid memories or even dreams are exact photocopies of past events because they're not. They're a reconstruction or a reinterpretation. There's some evidence to this point. So one example is observer memory, or memory in which we can see ourselves as an outside observer would. This is in contrast to a memory in which you'd see the scene as you did the first time through your own eyes. But again, this all sort of leads back to the theme that you'll hear a lot this week, which is that our memories just aren't quite as good as we think they are. That was a quick one. So that's it for the first lecture in week 6. I just don't want to bombard you with too much in each lecture. So up next, we'll talk about the 3 systems of memory.